we're going to cover questions 18 through 30 of the UST Annual Compliance Inspection Checklist. That covers the STP, or Submersible Turbine Pump Sump. First, what you're going to want to make sure of is that your manhole cover is in good shape and can be removed easily. If you have trouble removing your manhole covers, you'll want to get that addressed so that you can do that easily, so that you don't damage your back or injure yourself while trying to pull these off. So after removing the covers from your STP sump, the first thing you're going to check for is make sure that the sump is nice and dry and clean. Again, just like your spill buckets, you don't want any water, fuel, or debris inside of this. You want to be able to inspect it for any damage and not worry about any kind of liquids or anything inside the sump. Liquids can wind up having biological effects on piping, corrosion, so you want to make sure that that's kept out. You also want to make sure that the sump is in good condition. You want to look for any holes, cracks, any damage that has happened to that containment sump that may cause a point for water to get in or fuel to get out. If your system has secondarily contained piping, you want to make sure that the interstice of that piping is open to the STP sump so that any leaks can drain into that sump and trigger the sensor that's there to alarm of a release. If you have an STP sump sensor placed inside your STP sump, you want to make sure that it's at the bottom of the sump and in an upright position. You can see here that a piece of fiberglass has been used to help maintain that position for the sensor. The sensor is in place on the bottom of the sump so that any liquid that builds up inside that containment sump will trigger the alarm. When inspecting your STP sump, you want to make sure that any of your penetration fittings are secure and intact. As we're showing with the pointer here, we have a rubber entry. You want to make sure that it's all bolted properly, that a clamp is in place, and there's no tears or damage. This one is in really good shape, and this is what you want to see. If you find that you have any problems as far as tears, rips, clamps missing, you want to address those to make sure that there isn't a possible release into the environment if a spill occurs inside this containment sump. While you're in looking at your STP sumps, one of the recommended items on the checklist is to check your junction boxes. You're going to want to look at the junction box and make sure that it's all sealed and free of corrosion. In most cases, the junction box that you're going to see is a low voltage junction box. We wouldn't be writing a violation on that, but you do want to make sure that that's in good shape. The one you do have to be concerned with is the high voltage. The high voltage piping does have to be sealed. If that's open, you do have risk of a flash fire occurring. So if you find that one of the openings covers on your high voltage piping, if that's open, you need to make sure that you don't use the submersible until that's repaired. One other item that you're going to check when doing your annual inspection is make sure that there's no leaks from the piping or STP sump. You want to check around your leak detection, anywhere on your STP, and any of the piping that you find down inside of your sump. You want to look for any wetness, dripping, any problems showing that there's a leak. If you do find any, if it's very tiny, you need to get it taken care of, but you don't have to shut the system down. If you actually find a leak that is actually accruing inside of the STP sump, you should turn the power off and stop using it until it's repaired.